All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Hello. So, today I wanted to talk to you guys about passion and action. Y'all know me. I am super passionate about a lot of things. Like if something lights my fire, I go all in for it. I'm like, rah! And some of you guys are like that. You're super duper passionate. You're super passionate about God and impact, or just doing the things that you feel God has called you for and living your purpose. Like, I talk to so many people who are like very passionate about the conversation of purpose and fulfillment and living this stuff out. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about passion does not equal action. Ooh. So if you're watching this, you already know what I'd love to see. Say hi. I see some of you guys already have joined us. So say hello. And if you're watching the replay, then you definitely want to put #replay. But passion does not equal action. Now I want to start with a little thing, right? So what triggered this conversation that I want to have with you this week? I was actually thinking about an experience I had with Bible school. Now, I am not talking about the first experience I had with Bible school. Y'all, when I first got to know God and know Jesus Christ and give my life to him, I was so passionate, and I was in university. And I remember one day I went to my dad and I'm like, Daddy, do you know what I want to do? I just love God so much. I want to drop out of school and I want to go, I want to drop out of university and go into Bible school. It's time. I'm just so, I just want to give my life to this thing. And my dad's a pastor, right? But he's also a chemical engineer and professional and blah, blah. And my dad was just many times when I would come to my dad with many different ideas, me and my dad would reason together, have a conversation about it, and really talk and get to the root of it. And my dad is actually one of the wisest people that has counseled me ever. I just love my dad. Anyway, this isn't about my dad. This is about this conversation. Passion doesn't equal action. So I tell my dad, I want to go to Bible school. I'm just so, yes, on fire for Jesus. And this was the only time my dad's response to me was are you stupid? It's just finish your degree. But that's not the one. That's not the one that I wanted to talk about. So I was thinking about passion doesn't equal action because of something else that happened around Bible school. So I read a lot of revival books and just books, autobiographies and biographies about world changers, people who have really impacted the world. So one of the people that I read about, and I see so many of you guys watching. If you're watching, say hello, say hi. I like to see you. I like to know who's here. But I read all these books about revivalists, and hey babe, that's Josh, that's my boo. Happy anniversary in advance in 2 hours. Okay, I'm done. But I read these books about revivalists. Hey Kelly, hey. And one of the people I've read about is Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts is someone who truly impacted the globe. God used him so mightily in a tangible way. Many people got to know about how real God is and experience God because of Oral Roberts' life. So one day, that's right, one day I got the opportunity to travel to Oral Roberts University. And this was a big deal for me, guys. When I say I'm a geek for world changers and just their story and their journey and all of that, I really am. And so we were going to the university that was created in his honor, and I was so amped. And I remember going they had chapel that was about to take place. So we were in the hallway right before chapel, right in front of their chapel. And in the hallway, they had these pictures. Normally when you go to any school, there's this hallway that has pictures of all the graduates. Okay, so they had these pictures about people who had graduated over the years, and I'm just looking at the pictures and reading the names, and I'm looking at the people, and people start coming in for chapel. And there's a lot of students. We had visited the Noah's Ark building and all this stuff, but I knew Oral Roberts was a big deal, but I didn't know that there were this many people attending Oral Roberts at that time. Hey, Cheryl. And so I was this is a lot of students. And I remember one question came to my mind that broke me in that moment. I asked God, this is a lot of people in Bible school here. Look at all the walls of people who have graduated from Oral Roberts University. I thought about, and then I just started thinking about all the Bible school, like, that have been laid as a foundation from people who have changed the world. Like, I was thinking about D.L. Moody and just so many other people. And I was like, God, tens of thousands of people have gone to these Bible schools. And tears were streaming down my face because the next question I asked him was, Abba, why am I not seeing, or why are we not seeing revival at the level that would make sense? Like, it doesn't make sense if this many people, and I'm not knocking Bible school. Like I started this thing telling you, I wish I went to Bible school. I wanted to go to Bible school. I love Bible school stuff. I just love to learn this stuff. But how many people have gone through Bible school? The world doesn't look a little bit, I don't know, different. I don't even know how to put it in words, really. But I wept. And for like months, I did not have an answer. I remember I went into the chapel and we had an amazing service and it was a God encounter and it was great. But for months that bugged me. I was thinking on it. I was like, God, what is it? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So many of us, and not just people who go to Bible school, so many people know the Bible. So many people quote the Bible. So many people have studied the Bible. Why are we not seeing like the world changing stuff that is in the book of Acts right now at the level that would reflect the number of people who have studied this stuff? And I remember it was just months I had the question, because at the end of that year, hi guys, at the end of that year, I went to a conference. And at this conference, believe it or not, I got paired to connect somehow with this guy who happened to mention to me that he went to ORU. And it was like, whoa, you attended ORU. And so we start talking and I was like, you know, what? Because he had graduated. I'm like, what have you done? Like, what are you doing? Like, you studied under the teachings of Oral Roberts and this foundation and da-da-da. And I remember what he said to me. He said, Toyin, I mean, I studied it and I learned it, but at this stage, I just don't really know what to do. Like, there were two things. One, he said, I'm not really sure what to do. But then secondly, the things I've tried, like, it didn't really work. So I just stopped, which is why now I don't know what to do. And this was someone who had given himself, like, for years to study how to live full out for God, and graduated and came face to face with the action piece of implementing the things that he had heard. Full of passion, but there was a gap. And the reason that I wanted to have this conversation is because often I hear a lot of people say things like, well, you should just get it. You should just do it. You should just obey. You just know it. You just read the Bible and do. That is good. Say it very well. Say it very well. Yet 95% of us don't. That's the reality. And when I'm talking about this stuff, guys, I'm not talking about sin or not sin. I'm not talking about, like, don't steal. Okay, that's a whole other conversation. I'm talking about like leveraging a connection with God into something that actually impacts the world, impacts our planet, impacts people, impacts hundreds or thousands or whatever God's called you to impact. That's what I'm talking about. So when I'm having this conversation, it's not like, you know, so many people are reading the Bible and not following because they're just like running all over the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking to some of you guys who are very serious about walking in purity and walking with God. But there's a gap when it comes to actually completing the work that he gives you to do, or actually knowing what it is that he wants you to do. And the reason I'm doing this live and having this conversation with you guys is because, you know, there's something that my dad says often. He says, knowledge is knowing what to do. So, you know, what needs to get done. This is what needs to get done. This is the steps, right? Wisdom is knowing how to do that thing. Hold on one second, because I just realized that there's going to be comments in a whole different place that I wasn't even checking. Okay. Hello guys. Hi. Wisdom is knowing how to do the thing. Okay. So wisdom is good too. Virtue is actually getting it done. And now here's the catch-22. We are all human beings. We are all human beings. There is no, well, you know, AI is doing its thing. So AI maybe one day will start to do better than humans. Who knows? Everything right now with what's happening with COVID is just like a who knows what's coming. But if you're human, there are very legitimate fears, doubts, thoughts, disappointments that influence opinions of people, that influence our ability to finish the stuff that God is telling us to do. And if we ignore that reality, we carry this guilt for not getting the things done, but we never actually look at the root. So what do many people do? They say, well, maybe the problem is I'm not reading the Bible enough. So they go like, I'm going to double down on reading. I'm going to go and get another theoretical training for my brain to just understand it more. And it's like, you've already understood everything. You know already here what needs to be done. But the gap is in the follow through and the action to see it through to the end. And guys, this is where it takes humility, because, for example, like we train in purpose and like living out your calling. And a lot of the people that we serve are people who have done some pretty totes amazing things. Like we've trained some people who have run $1 million companies. We've trained people who are impacting already hundreds of people. Like this isn't someone who's sitting back being like, oh, I just want to do something for God and I'm just chilling. Like, no, I'm talking to those of you guys who are actually serious. Like you have a track record of showing up, but you know that you have been limiting yourself from what you're actually capable of. That's what I'm talking about here. So there's this gap between everyone around you is saying like, you're doing so great. You're doing so good. I mean, like you're already doing enough. You're doing so much. But you know that there is so much more that Abba is calling you to, but something keeps you in that level where everyone else is just like, oh, you're doing great. Those are the people that I'm speaking to right now. And what I want to say is this. It really takes humility to identify that, yeah, I know how to lead. I know how, I understand, how to understand my key performance indicators and how to structure my teams and how to run in this way. But for some reason, my brain is holding myself back from the fullness of the potential of what God is calling me to, not because I don't have passion for it, but because there's a gap and I don't know what that gap is. I had that conversation with someone today, and it was one of the most beautiful conversations because it's very relieving to be able to have that conversation as a leader and not feel judged and not feel like you're letting anyone down. It's like, I'm human too. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned it. The reason, by the grace of God, I've been able to break through a lot of the barriers that had me in that, like, you're doing good, but I know I can do so much more, was literally getting to that place of humility where I was willing to say, how about I actually go work with someone to help me identify my own blind spots? And then how about I get those blind spots gone so that I can shift to the place that God is calling me to? That is the conversation that I'm talking about, that humility. And so what I wanted to do is just jump on here and say to any of you guys who are watching this, and you are a leader in your own right, like you are a leader, you've already done things to show that established passion and desire to follow him, whether it's Bible school, whether it's leading in your business, whether it's whatever it is. But you know that there's more, and you've seen yourself limit what he is calling you to do. Or you've seen it go, but yeah, you just know there's more. Then I'm inviting you guys to book a call. Let's have a conversation. And let's see what's really happening on a subconscious level that could be keeping you from actually getting the stuff done. So you want to jump on with us. It is toyindata.com/purpose. And then what I'm also going to do is in the description here, we just did a masterclass that has that where we actually go into this conversation and we have this conversation. And so for those of you guys who know that this is something that has been brewing on the inside of you, there is more. There is more. I know there's more for me, but I don't know exactly how to activate that. I want to invite you guys, let's have a conversation, because what I want to see, guys, is this world transformed. Today I saw news that just broke my heart, and I'm like, we need more people to just carry this light into the farthest places. And by the farthest places, it includes the mission field, but it's not always the mission field. For many of us, the places that need this light of God and the light and the love, the kingdom of God, is literally our neighbors. Like the news that I heard is happening here in North America. So like, that's what I'm talking about. If you know there is more, book a call with me. Let's have a conversation. toyindata.com/purpose. And let's help y'all really max out what Abba is calling you to do. Because we have a limited time on this planet, and it's about time. I love you guys. I'll chat with you next week, or whenever next I feel like jumping on Facebook Live. I always say next week, and then I end up jumping on before next week or something like that. So whenever next I see you, but the latest it will be next week. Love you guys. Talk to you then.